Hello everyone, this is Plankera, and welcome to my universe. Today, we're going to continue rigging Shalom from Path to Nowhere. So yesterday, I think I got the front bang looking pretty good. Even looking at it now, I'm still pretty happy with it. So, now I think it is time to start moving on to the sides. I'm going to do this side first, for no particular reason. I just picked it because the layers are on top of the list here. So when I was looking at it just before stream here, I noticed that it felt like some of these highlights were creeping upward. So I'm going to go slide them down a little bit to try to get them into a little bit of a better place here. I'm still pretty happy with how it's all connecting through here. So I think I did good there. Just want to adjust the top a little bit here. But otherwise, I think it's all good. I also looked a little bit of how it looks when I do it from the center and then go out to the corner. And I do feel like the top of the head gets a little bit weird looking. But I'm hoping some of that will clear up as I work on this side over here. But I'm going to do this side first. Most of the other stuff looks okay, aside from, stuff that I just haven't done yet. But that's the only glaring problem that I see in the corner there. It's not quite like the bottom left corner, where it does look like the head is shrinking. So that's going to be something to fix when the time comes. But for now, it seems like I'm doing pretty well, just focusing on making sure that the left head turn and the top head turn connect correctly here. Make sure that all is well. So right now, I'm just looking at all these little highlights through here on the hair. All these little guys. And to a lesser extent where this highlight comes out, it's not lining up quite right from the up head turn. So I gotta find the right spot for him still. Just one step at a time here. Yeah, you can see it's still moving downward a little bit here. How does it look from the left here? Pretty okay. And I think it makes sense for it to move a little bit downward since just due to the angle of her head, but I don't think I want it to be moving that much downward. Like, that's a lot. That's a pretty big difference. So I'll try to get it into a slightly better spot here. And October is almost over. And so, October will be coming to an end soon as well. I do plan to still draw some speed paints every so often. I think after giving myself a couple of weeks to take a break, I'm gonna attempt to have a new one up weekly. That sounds like a pretty reasonable amount of time. One day a week still means that I still get something out regularly, but it also means that I have more time to draw more serious pictures. The stuff I can't draw in an hour. And that is the part that I have been missing the most. But you can also bet that I will do more art challenges if I know of them. Admittedly, I am not very active in a lot of art spaces, so maybe I should fix that. Find some good ones to join and get some good challenges to work on. I've got a lot of stuff I want to do, and I'm really looking forward to working on it all. And one good thing about this whole process is that I'm a bit more comfortable recording myself off stream now. It's like it'll be a little bit different if I'm not just doing speed painting, because there will presumably be times where I just kind of stop, mess around, and just leave things running, but I can probably stop the recording for a little while during that and all that good stuff, so there's some stuff for me to figure out still. But it doesn't feel weird like it used to. I was a little bit shy about it. It's just one of those things. Brains are kind of weird like that, you know? For some reason, I just felt a little bit shy about it, and... well... now I know my brain is just being silly. So, I'll probably record some of my other processes as well. Maybe not all of them, but definitely more of them. Sometimes it's nice to just be able to draw without feeling like the world is watching me. And today's Inktober theme is violin. I have a few ideas on what I'm gonna do, and with Halloween coming up, I might try to make it a little bit spooky. Haven't done too much spooky art. I did the one for Scarecrow, just because scarecrows kind of creep me out. But I haven't done any others. Everything else has been pretty wholesome. And I guess I had that one magic circle that was a little bit spooky. But honestly, it was more just inspired by actual, like, star charts and stuff, and I don't think star charts are very spooky. Not even the medieval ones that are kind of nonsense. So, yeah, I'll probably do something maybe a little bit spooky today. I have some ideas. It's funny, with as much as this year's Inktober has been adventure-themed, violin is pretty far outside that. So that's kind of an interesting curveball to throw at the end. Probably even more curvy than rhinoceros. Alright, I'm gonna hide this strand for a second there, because I need to get the top of this in the right place. So far, I don't think it looks that bad from, like, the left, but from the top, you can see, if you look at the little lump right here, it's going down pretty far, and I don't really like the way it looks. So let's floof that little lump back up. Make it nice and poofy. And then once it's all nice and poofy and looking good relative to the top, I'll put the strand back on and put the bottom of that strand in a better spot. So this way it will connect to the hair properly and everything will look nice. But first things first, I want to make sure that I have all of the pieces that will be touching it in a good spot. And because this highlight here and the shadow area next to it are kind of connected to the edge of the hair here, I want to make sure that they are in good spots before I move on. When I look at how I cut this hair, I am curious to know how somebody more experienced in rigging would have cut all of this. Because, like, I felt like I cut it into a lot of pieces, but actually working with it here, I'm not sure if it's enough. I'm really not. There's been some areas where it's been a bit hard to get things to go where I want them to go, so I'm wondering if I should have cut it up even more finely than I even did. It's like I don't think I particularly regret doing it like this, because I think I'm still getting a pretty good result. And if I had cut the hair even more finely, it would have been really unwieldy to work with sometimes. But I don't know, it might have let me do some more cool things. Maybe that would have been worth it. Something to keep in mind for the future. I haven't done very many full body models like this. So I just wanted to do this one to practice. And because I think the art from Path to Nowhere is very pretty. And I wanted to work with it. That has been something I've been thinking about, just... My goodness. Even with as much hair as I feel like there is, should there have been more? It's the kind of question that just fills me with existential dread. More hair. Now that there is a Halloween idea. More hair. Spookiest thing I've heard this week. So right now what I'm looking at is, in the top view, there's like this small little dent. You can see it kind of goes down here on all of these little spots. And I'm trying to replicate that over on the left side here. And before I felt like the connecting hair here, all of this area, was stretching in order to meet up with the bang. So I moved the bang a little bit further to the right in order to connect with the other side a little bit better. And I think that's looking pretty good. Yeah, much better. Now I just have to capture that little dent. And stop this last little bit of stretching that I'm seeing over here. We're gonna pull some things over. Gonna pull some things on over. Okay, and the highlight kind of disappears on the upturn here. Do I like that? Yeah, I think I do. Does it look good here too? Yeah, I was looking at this tiny little highlight right there. Just a little tiny one. But you can see it gets a little bit smaller through there, and I wanted to make sure that was correct. I think it is. So finishing up the last little bit of where everything just connects over here. And that should be good. Just trying to make sure that all of those little bumps and valleys are where they should be. So I think every little detail in this front bang area will make a big difference. I am treating it with the utmost care. Well, tonight my husband and I finished Baldur's Gate 3, and we had a pretty good time. There were some parts that were maybe a little bit more janky than I would have liked, but overall I had a pretty good time. And I have to say that, let me see if I can speak vaguely to avoid spoilers, but being a paladin monstrosity was absolutely hilarious. It was wonderful. And I got to have a good end for the character that I was role-playing that entire time. And she got to go crusading around the hells. And it was just like, heck yeah. Very, very happy. Sounded exactly like something that you would like, just being in eternal war, making a difference in the world, slaying devils. She would have been quite happy with that outcome. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good game. Like I said, it definitely had some jank that I found a little bit hard to deal with, but I wouldn't say that it stopped me from having a good time. There were just a few areas that made me sigh. And I have to say that I can still gush about that underwater prison sequence. That was great. Probably the best part in the game for me. I had such a good time going through that and figuring it all out. Alright, so now I have that strand back in, and I think it's looking good. I do think that the rest of these areas will come a little bit faster than the front bang has been. Just because they're less detailed and less prominent. I am very, very particular about what I do with that front bang there. Very, very important. Just sticking out there right in the front. So I don't like to spare any expense on it. It's worth putting every last bit of effort I have to search for any details that don't look quite right. Yep, and where it connects I think is looking pretty good. It's going down a little bit, but I think that doesn't actually look bad. Let me do some more intense staring here just to make sure that everything is how I want it. I don't like the way this little highlight is moving. The highlight that the vertex itself is on. The tunnel I think is generally okay. I can move it around a little bit. Yeah, there we go. That's better. That's much better. Alright, now I'm just going to do the last little bit of shaping. Get all these vertices as happy as I can make them. Have the happiest vertices ever. Gonna be so happy they're not going to know what to do with themselves. Did not mean to scroll down. Okay. And then after that, I don't think I'll go all the way down the strands yet. I think I still just want to focus on the roots of her hair here and the part. Because I think getting that first will help me a lot more in the long run. It's kind of how I've done everything up until now, where I get these roots and then I just eventually work my way down the strand. Because at that point I have lots and lots of good anchor points I can work with. I know that if something looks right, it's probably about right. I will get these highlights though. I think the highlights are important to shaping the top part of her hair here. And kind of help everything else to follow as things go on. Okay, yeah, something like that I think is looking pretty good. I'm not sure if all of these highlights are going the exact way I want them yet, but I can only move them so much. I made the decision not to separate them. I don't think I regret that decision at all, if I'm being honest. Let's see, how did I have the highlights move when her hair went upward? Yeah, I had it a little bit higher throughout there. Looks like I actually had it a little bit higher on the bottom too, and I'm not sure if that's correct. By bottom, I mean this side, the inner part here. Or is that outer? I don't know. It's hard to describe direction when it comes to something round like a head. But yes. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. Oh, I really changed the shape of some of this quite a lot, didn't I? Let's try to get some of those original shapes back. I think I had an idea in my head and was not looking closely enough at how the normal view actually looked. All I was seeing is how I thought it should look according to my brain. And well, that's not a way you want to paint. You gotta respect these things for what they are, not what the logical side of your brain thinks they should be. That's a little bit better. So I might have to go back and fix some things up. Go back and forth a little bit. That'll be alright. As for what I want to do with these highlights, I think I want this one to be a little bit lower and this one to be a little bit higher. Kind of make it look like the light is hitting a little bit more strongly here, and that it's just going further back as everything goes this way. That might be too much movement, but we shall see. We shall see. I want to try it at least. Try it and see what happens. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. Once I clean it up, I think the idea is quite solid. I have a very good starting point here. So now I will go and start trying to get all of these individual little shapes correct. Just make them all look very nice. Something like that. Now I'm just checking the little lumps through here, making sure they are exactly as I want them, because it looks like I might have put this top one a little bit too far down. Only a little bit. But still, even a little bit makes a difference. So I want to get that into the right place here. Always do. Okay, so far so good. And I don't think I've completely perfected those little highlights, but this strand here has been bothering me for so long, and now I want to work on it. Another case of the idea is solid, but way over-exaggerated here. We gotta bring some of this in, rein it in a little bit. Right now it's just like one of those actors that just chew the scenery, take the spotlight. Singing way too loud and way too badly. So we gotta bring the stage direction and make him pay a little bit more attention. Make him a little bit more subdued. Give the other actors on this head a little bit more room to shine. But something like that might look good. Not quite. That's okay. It's a start. It is a start. It's funny because that much actually really does look good here. But oh man, it does not over here. Not at all. I guess it's because her head is moving to the left. So that means that this area is actually supposed to be more covered up. So the problem wasn't this part up here, it was this part over here. We gotta bring some of this back over here. In theory. Let's see how things work out in practice. I think I can afford to expand everything a little further out here and get something going. We'll see what happens. But I have ideas. I have many ideas here. Yeah, I think that's looking a little bit better. Just kind of need to... What do I need to do here? I think I need to move some stuff on the underneath layer too. Just pull these shadows a little bit further back. Make them a little bit more subdued. Still show a little bit of them. Let them hide a little. Yeah, something like that. I think it'll look pretty good once I get these outer vertices pulling the texture the direction I want it. Because I kind of have to line this highlight and the shadow here with everything else. I'll line it all up, as always. Oh yeah, that's looking really nice. Okay, we're off to a good start here. It's no longer bothering me a lot. That's always a nice feeling, of just one area that was squirming like crazy, now starting to look normal and content. Like it's where it wants to be. No longer just squirming up a storm and distracting me from everything else I could be looking at. Little misclick there, that's okay. Okay. So I do feel like this highlight is being stretched out a little bit. So I'm going to try to find a place where it seems a little bit more content with itself. Because right now, well, it doesn't seem quite so happy. Oh yes, Thinking about Inktober again just reminded me of something, in that I've been able to draw a lot of those things very, very quickly. And I think that a lot of what I draw there is actually pretty easy to do. Like, don't get me wrong, it'll still take some practice in order to make it look really good. It's like if you look at some of the stuff I was doing in that style 5 years ago, it's like you can definitely see the difference. But I think it's easy enough that beginners can get reasonably good results. So I was thinking about doing some guided painting, whether that be streams or video. I haven't decided which yet. But I thought it might be fun to try. I might do some videos first to kind of figure out the format, so that this way if I decide I want to do it live, I'll be a little bit more prepared for it. Because right now I'm pretty sure if I tried, I'd fumble my way through it pretty hard. It's another case of I don't know what to expect, and I'm not quite sure what I'd make it look like yet. I think it's the kind of thing where all you need is a drawing tablet and Krita, which is free. So the only expensive thing would be the drawing tablet and a computer, but I assume most people watching me probably have a computer. And Krita is pretty lightweight as far as programs go, so I don't think you'd need a very high-end system to run it. And to run the browser to see the stream at the same time. So that might be something I try to do as well. Give me a few weeks to run some experiments. But I think that could be fun. Because I really do think that if you guys put your mind to it, even if you've never drawn before, you can totally draw. You can do it. I believe in you. Even something as complicated as people. People is what I like to draw most, so that's something that I would like to continue drawing for these. The last little bit of the strand just does not want to come into place, and I'm not sure what's wrong. This might be the time where I have to consult the mesh. But on the subject of guided painting, I might put a poll up on it on the community tab at some point. Probably when I'm more actively thinking about it. And after I've kind of recovered from Inktober and have done a few of the other things I want to do. Because trust me, I have lots of ideas. I have lots of ideas that sound like they'll be a lot of fun if I can get it all working. Because besides that, I kind of was also thinking of doing a Path to Nowhere themed what are they called? Interactive comic. I'd want to find a nice, appropriately scuffed art style for it. But we're basically... I draw a scene, and then you guys decide how the character reacts to it. And that determines how the story unfolds. It sounds like it could be pretty fun. Initially, I was thinking about it in terms of using Zero as the main character, since she was supposed to be a blank slate. And that seems very appropriate for this kind of thing, of just using a blank slate character to kind of do whatever you want. But I think there's a few other characters that could do it too. Chief, theirself among them, and, then I was also thinking maybe someone like Faye, who, not quite a blank slate, but hasn't done a lot yet. So that I might put a poll up for later as well. I have to decide which of my ideas I like best. I'm not sure if I can do them all. Why did there have to be limited hours in the day? Why can't I just do all the things? Instead of dedicating my life to art, I should have dedicated my life to finding immortality. This way I'd have more time to do all the things. And then I could have learned art. Yeah. Like, man, 18-year-old self, why'd you stop doing chemistry? Or better yet, just find a way to not need to sleep anymore. That's like the worst. Such a waste of time. I could get so much more done if I didn't have to spend 8 hours a day just in my bed doing nothing. I guess occasionally I do get some dreams that give me some good ideas, so maybe it's worth in some way, but overall, nah. I'd get inspiration from other sources. I don't need dreams. They're just nonsense. But here I am, forced to flop in bed for 8 hours. And if I don't do it, I just feel terrible, and then I can't get anything done anyway. It's so sad. So very sad. Alright, on the bright side, consulting the mesh let me figure out what I needed to do here, and now everything's looking much better. Look at that. Now it comes over and it covers up that shadow and it looks... look at that. It's so nice. So lovely. I think I still have a couple of things to get into place there, but now that it is no longer distracting me, I think I will go back to the highlights down here in this little area. So I think those highlights are pretty important, and they're also almost done. So that's a plus. It'd be nice to be able to finish them. So let's see how I can make all this look here. Okay, right now I'm actually most worried about the dark part right there. Trying to get all that to line up the way I want it to. I'm just going to start from that outer edge and work my way up. That might be moving a little bit too much, yeah. I think it is. That is too bad. I thought it looked pretty nice there. Let's go ahead and pull it back just a little bit. I was surprised by how much I made that move. I didn't think I had moved those vertices that much. I guess they must have gotten moved around when I was moving the mesh group around. But there we go. Now I pushed them back a little bit. Yeah, and now it's kinda all lining up a little bit better. Yeah, I was just surprised for a second there. Always amazing how some things just end up where you never expect it. Okay. Now I'm looking at this dark area. There's like a little line there. Trying to make that look nice. I felt like most of these highlights were in the right place. So I'm just mostly worried about the shadows here. Oh my. Case of I was surprised. Quite surprised. I mean, look at that squirmer. That little shadow I was looking at before just goes zoop, zoop. Yeah, well, I don't want it to be like that. Not at all. It has no idea what's going on. So let's try to pull it back on over. And if that's in a bad spot, I'll revisit the left head turn. But I think the left head turn looks alright, so I will try to get that guy into a better spot here. So I just gotta pull some of these little vertices down, and that'll send him back in the right direction. Hopefully he'll be happier down there. Being careful around the shadow though, because I do want it to stay up there as much as I can. Alright, so far so good. So far so good. I think the way that the hair highlight is climbing upward a little bit here actually is correct. Okay. So far so good. So now I can start worrying about all the stuff up here. And you can see how much faster I went through all of this than I did all of this. Because this area is much harder than this area. That front bang man always gives me such a time. But I am always very particular about how it looks. It is worth spending all the extra time on it. It's just a needy little area. And that's fine. I can give it what it needs. It's okay. So right now, what I'm looking at is all these, like, little patches of different colors, making sure that they are getting to where they need to go. Unfortunately, I didn't have to try very hard. They're very eager to get to where they need to go. Now I just want to make things a little bit rounder here, and I think that should do the trick. Yeah, I think so. Alright. So now I'm gonna think about this highlight for a second. That's why I'm zooming out so far. Just thinking about where I want it to be on this particular angle, but honestly, I think where I have it is probably good. We'll see if the me of tomorrow agrees. But so far so good. Let's keep going. It's like, man, I've gotten this much done already in the evenings. Like, well, I mean, I guess saying it's barely started isn't right, but it is almost done. But it still doesn't feel like it's been that long. Still got quite a bit of time left. Okay. So now I just want to get this little strand connecting up nice and happily. Let's get him there. Trying to fix the angle up just a little bit here, because it was looking a little bit crunchy there. But I think the tip is all good. We'll see if I need to adjust it. I didn't look too carefully because I was more concerned with this top area. So I'll give it another good look before I continue. But as usual, I have a little bit of trouble wrangling the 2 rows of vertices type meshes like this. There's like a little thing that's not curling right up there. I want it to curl right. Needs to curl just the way I want it to. It's just the way I want it to be. And me as the artist, well, what I say goes. Everything can be exactly how I want it to be. Okay, how about something like that? Oh no, that's floofing up way too hard. Way too hard. Okay. Let's try that again. Get a small little brush here and start pulling it down a little bit here. Let me make sure it's connecting at the right spot. Like the angle is wrong, but is the starting point right? Yes. The part it connects on is totally right. So I can adjust from there. I was flailing too hard with this 2 row of dots mesh and ended up curving it way too hard. Yep, that sounds like something I'd do. Deeply unfortunate. Okay. So I need to consult the mesh a little bit here. I think that the shape is looking okay, but now I just have to stop the sliding. So let's see, what is causing all this stretching out of the vertices? All of the stretching out of these vertices. These poor guys do not deserve to be so stretched. Just gotta find a good spot for them. But it's okay, I'll find it. I promise. Just gotta consult the mesh a little bit here. And then all will be well. The mesh knows what's up. Okay, that should look pretty good. Let me make sure nothing's squirming when I zoom out. It's like things will probably always squirm when I zoom into 500%, so I gotta go out and make sure I'm not just getting fixated on silly things. And I'm not. That highlight is too far up. But it's okay, now I confirmed it. I know that I'm not getting fixated on silly things. I don't have to keep that thought in the back of my mind. I know it is true. So now I can push it back down. And hopefully everything will be okay. Let's zoom out again. Just so I do not get fixated on pixels. Now it is too far down. Such is the curse of moving things too much. Gotta bring it back up. Got it a little bit too far down. But that one little light area is like the only color on this strand. So it is the only reference I have. I actually don't like how much that's curving upward. Kinda had to do it to an extent in order to make it match up with the top view. But I actually do not like that transition from here to here. But I think the problem is actually the left view. Because it matches up very, very well with the top view. So I'm just going to curve the strand down here a little bit more. We're just going to send it a little bit further this way. I don't think I have to move it too much. Just enough to make it not quite as squirmy when the head tilts up. That's all it needs. So let's make sure it still matches up here. Yep, all is well. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it's fine. So let's see here, we got about 10 minutes left, so let's get started on the next strand. The next one is this one up here. Man. So it's like I finished almost this entire side today. I might finish this entire side today, given that the last strand, this part right here, is like behind everything and you barely see it at all. Oh, wouldn't that be exciting? After spending a couple of days on that front bang, we can just finish everything else, and it's done. Forever and ever. I guess I'll have to see what my future self thinks of it all, but still. That is progress. Things are coming together, and I'm starting to understand a thing or two about rigging. So I think I'll be able to do my next rig even faster. I have a couple of ideas for the next project I want to do, but I think that'll still be a couple of months out. Maybe not a couple, but like I can dream that I might have this finished in December. It's a nice thought. Possible, but I'm not sure. It depends on how hard I decide to go on the body, I think. And like, I don't intend to go very hard on the body, but well, you never know with me. Sometimes I just see something and I'm just like, oh, shiny, let's do it. And I get a little bit overexcited. What can I say? Oh, this is just very exciting to me. The fact that I'm able to rig something with hair like this now is indeed very, very exciting. I'm just hoping it all tracks well. I'm looking forward to testing it all out. I just don't want to do any testing until I finish the head angles. Alright, things are looking a little crunchy there still, but are things in the right place? That is the question that I'm asking myself here. And that is the problem I am trying to solve at the moment. Just, are things in the right place? Are they where they need to be? Answer right now, mostly, I think. I think they're mostly in place. I want to keep these shadow areas a little bit smaller than they are on the left turn, but about the same size as they are in the upward turn. So I'm doing my best to pay attention to where all that goes. And then I'm just fixing up this highlight because it'll bother me otherwise. That one doesn't have any special reason. It's just like I'd look at it and it would be so very wrong. And I'd just see it squirming and I'd be sad. So sad, so distracted. That's why it's important to just get something reasonable looking. Enough that it will not distract me from what I must do. I make rigging sound so sinister when I put it like that. But no, I just want to keep my focus in the right areas. Alright, I think for this issue, might need to consult the mesh. I have some areas that are kind of getting stretched out a little bit, and it's just no good. See where I'm stretching things out. According to the top, here's being stretched, and according to the left, here's being stretched. So I guess I'll just work through some of these vertices and see if that doesn't help me fix some of the problems here. Okay, so I can see why I had them so far over. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I think I solved most of it. I just got this little spot back here that needs a little bit of help. I'm actually going to hide this just to help me figure out how that should be looking. I think I can afford to stretch out this area a little bit too. It's like it was really thin when I was working on the top view, because it was fading into the background a little bit more. And I do think it should still be relatively thinned out here. But because this is also a left, like it's the upper left, I can afford to make it a little bit more stretched out. And so hopefully with that little bit of back hair gone, I'll be able to see where everything should be. We'll no longer have any further distractions. Or at least questions as to where the problem lies. This way I know if I see any problems, it's because something is wrong here. And is there... Okay. Just had to check something about this little dent there, but I think it's fine. Alright, there's a little highlight right there, right under this vertex. That needs to be just a touch lower. And here I think it also needs to be just a touch lower. This is the left turn. I did not get this into exactly the spot it needed to be in. It was quite close though. There we go. Now it turns back a little bit better. Alright. And I could stop here, but honestly, I'm feeling energized. It's like I'm so close to the end. I'd like to go for just a little while longer. See if I can't perfect this back part right here. The backmost hair. And just have this entire side done and ready for my future self to judge. All right. And now I think it's looking all right. I think that little wave is supposed to be there. But maybe not in that exact location. You can see what I'm talking about here is this part is a little bit wavy. But I think it's actually like that here too. You can see a little bit wavy. Normally I take that kind of motion as a sign that something is wrong. Because in my art, I don't typically use shapes like that. So it's typically a sign of something being a little bit distorted or crunchy. Okay. Still looking a little bit distorted there. So let me see if I can straighten it out just a little bit here. Yeah, I think that's probably about correct, based on how it is on other angles. Okay. Still kind of want the bump on the edge there. Yeah, looks like it got a little bit straightened out. I might consult the mesh for that. I think the mesh has a better idea of what's going on from this direction. Okay. So just bring this out here a little, this out here a little, and this out here a little. Doesn't need to go too far, just enough. Just enough. Not quite. Is it in the wrong place? Did I put it too high up? No, I think it's in about the right spot. It's like the bump just isn't here, it's here. So I guess in that sense, yes, it's a little bit too low. I just needed to bring this vertex out. There we go. That should be better. Let's take a look. See if it is better. It's a little better. I don't think it's completely there yet. Kind of want to bring these vertices a little further back. Hide the little highlights behind the hair in front there. And just fluff out these little spots here. And the rest, I think, is based on some stuff I'll have to correct later. The strand just elongating a little bit, because I wanted certain aspects to be a little bit lower down. But that is something I think I will fix when I fix everything else here. Just go down the strand and get everything into the right place. So I think that is that area done. And tomorrow, I will be able to go in and Well, first, make sure everything looks the way I want it, and second, do the other side. But that will be for tomorrow. So, thank you all for coming. If you'd like me to take a look at your own creative projects, whether that be art, writing, coding, game design, or any creative pursuit you can think of, feel free to message or add me on the social media platform of your choice, and I will take a look and maybe leave some comments. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.